Hello. I'm not saying everybody because it's ridiculous. You don't know who's watching you. This is a video, a precursor video to a new channel, YouTube channel, that I want to open, which I'm going to call the Hope Channel. The Light and Hope Channel. What is the idea? The idea is, since there's so much negativity, so many bad things. Every channel is complaints, stupidity, all kinds of negative things, all kinds of arguments, all kinds of people complaining, all kinds of people whining and stating all kinds of statements which are not necessarily good ones. You elect a politician and then you complain about that politician. It's all over the place. Everyone is complaining. And I say, as someone who immigrated to Canada, I have no complaints to this country. First of all, I don't feel any anti-Semitism. It exists. I'm not complaining. So many people are complaining. Say thank you that this country accepted you, or the United States, or Israel, whatever it is. Or now I'm starting to see a lot of things that are going to people speaking of this and that are not belonging in this place. I just watched a clip in German. There is a problem. You bring a lot of people from everywhere else, and there's a problem. Culture shock, change culture, all kinds of issues. This is not what I want to talk about. There's so much negativity, there's so many things going on. This channel is going to be about hope, about light, about positive things, about people helping animals, about animals helping people, about people being good to each other without any asking of reward. There's lots of good things around us. We have become accustomed and silent participant in the culture of negativity. I'm not going to even talk about all kinds of fringe things that people are trying to make mainstream as if it's an issue. I'm not going to get into anything political, or any issues like that. That's not an issue. But that was not the point. The point is what gets us to become closer to each other, no matter who we are, where we come from. All right, there are grievances, there's issues, no doubt. I'm, as an Israeli Jew, have huge grievances with all kinds of people, which, my Arabs were calling for my blood. Arabs tried to kill my father long before the establishment of the State of Israel. So what? We are going to look forward from now on. I speak Arabic, by the way, even though I am a white Ashkenazi Jew. Why? Because I want to communicate, because I want to create a positive point. And it's also something that in their culture is respectful, especially because they're considering people such as myself as learned and wise. And this is the idea. Let's discuss positivity. Let's understand that we all have pain and we all have issues and what's called human condition. Let's not reach out and try to fight. As I hear this all the time, I'll take care of myself. I hear this. It's all nonsense. We are not here to be ourselves only. We're here as a part of the entire creation. We are here as people. And I had a discussion with someone, and that lady used all kinds of language, which I will not repeat here. I wasn't taking it. The point she was making was racism. I said, there's no racism. And it doesn't matter. Of course, black matters life. So does Hispanic, Asian, white people, Jews, Caucasians, who are the vast majority still in America, for example. Everybody matters. And it doesn't matter what the color of the skin is. What kind of person are you? Everyone can be good within their circumstance. Everyone could do good And everyone, not with no exclusion, could create a situation where this planet is simply better. And I'm going to take on the media, which is the main enemy of humanity these days, blowing up things, using all kinds of terrible things to enhance all the friction points and the separation points. We've just been through a terrible experience which was called the corona, which was to me a complete lie. It doesn't really matter. What it did is try to divide us furthermore. Now there's change of regimes in a couple of places. Everybody's screaming the end of democracy. Democracy is not the greatest thing. The way democracy is being run. It's not such a great thing. Leadership is a lot of time too weak, and there's a lot of issues that are not being handled therefore. But what I want to do is discuss the neutral points that are hard on us and how we can improve it. Bring light and hope. This is the whole idea of this channel. And this is the whole idea of the kind of work I want to do from now on. What I do in my life is a therapist, using the deepest concepts of esoteric Judaism in a practical way to help people, no matter who they are. We all have the evil inclination, we all have the struggle inside between good and bad, we all have issues, it's many times compounded by all kinds of abuse and pain or whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. What matters is how can we build good. When I have couples who are in breaking point, or when I give courses how to be a good spouse, good husband, good wife, the point really is that we all have to look for the mutual positivity. The Grand Rabbi of the group which I belong to gave me a blessing that will make people feel better. And that's what I'm trying to do. I had to work on myself. It took a long time. I had a hard childhood and hard teenage years and early 20s. And I was a young man. I was in the army, which was a very difficult thing and still is. I hated destruction. I hated the uniform. I hated the gun. And even though I was on the winning side, thank God, and it's very important, Jewish people were abused all over the world for centuries. And we have a fine army, and politicians are weakened it, and created a most impossible situation there, but that's not the issue. The issue, how do we go forward from now? There are problems, deep problems, and there's all kinds of dark forces trying to push all kinds of dark things into people's lives, children even starting, but that's part of this world. However, there's so much potential for good. So many people who could reach out to each other and do good things. That's the point. Pardon me. This day and age, there's so many possibilities for everyone. One of the things that maybe you could see the guitar speaking up behind me is I fill up my time, as I'm a widower, besides teaching and studying is music, chess and music. Music, I watch certain channels. He's a nice guy. He's a great example for what I mean. His name is Rich Hall. He's from somewhere in Georgia, not far from Atlanta, if I understood it correctly. He's a great musician, a great guitarist, a very good teacher, and very humble, and he teaches all sorts of things. Amps, pedals, and guitars, of course. One of the things that he says, and that's true not just about music, but about a lot of things, he doesn't say it that way, but that's how I put it. God gave us opportunities. There's never been a better time to be a guitar player. Yours truly is getting there. And I've collected and got a very nice collection of guitars, including a bass, 12-string, left-handed, right-handed, what have you. But those guitars are really something that wasn't so easy to come by some years ago. Only one guitar is really expensive, top of the line for me. I'm not a vintage gear kind of guy. It's Fender Stratocaster, beautiful white left hanging, unbelievable. And it created an incredible positivity in my life as I live alone so far. No children. She passed away some 12 years ago. That's the point. Where can we find a better place? There's so many things that bring us together. Music. A lot of people, more people play chess, especially now. The possibilities are online since COVID. Many more people took these things on, chess, music, whatever. This is very important. Why? Because these are international things. It's not just me or you picking up a guitar. A lot of us, and I grew up on that music, listen to the music, that British band, Eagles, whatever, and modern music, whatever it is. The fact of the matter is that we have so many things that we could put our differences aside and find a common ground. If we talk about music, some years ago, I was in New York City. I had two guitars at the time. I took one of my guitars, the traveling guitar, which wasn't the best. It had some issues, a key and a string, whatever. I wanted to be repaired at something called Guitar Center in Berkeley Center in New York. I come in. The fellow says, "Yeah, what do you need?" I showed him the issue. He said, "No problem." And then I looked around just at the store, went to play some drums, whatever they let you do. And then I saw a few black people pick up some instruments. An older man picked up a guitar, electric guitar. And the younger man picked up a bass, and there was an old lady tapping on her knee. Beautiful sense of rhythm. And I saw them, and I went over, and I said, "Let's do something together." He just looked at me. He's out of his mind. I said, "Look, let's sing a black person's song." And I started saying, "Music is the world within itself." Stevie Wonder. Beautiful, beautiful thing. It's a language we all understand. That's one of the points that bring us together. I remember most of the words. We've completed the song, and all the way, one of the workers came with an acoustic guitar. Someone's given that. I don't think we have about 10, 12 people playing. Everyone jumps in his way or her way. And it ended, and everybody clapped their hands and left, and then the older black man says, "Rabbi, it's the coolest thing I've ever seen." And those are the words. It's a language we all understand. Now today, we have all kinds of professionals, health professionals, supposed coaches and schloches and whatever, that they want to make a career. They're not really helping you. They're helping themselves because it doesn't go deep enough. It has to go to the depth. In order to unite with each other, we also have to start with home. Starting with home means to be nicer to oneself. What does that mean? One of the most important things in life, as a ground rule, is to suit the expectations you have from yourself to your reality. And to have the expectations from your surroundings match reality. And not be somewhere in the sky where it doesn't belong. We live on Earth. And on Earth, there are limitations. Of course, there's limitless possibilities. A person can go higher and higher, and I can attest to that. Thank God, I never dreamt that I'd go so far in all kinds of things like all that I do today. But the point is that a person has to be realistic. We live in a non-realistic era. That's not going to work. It's not working. I'm not going to get into any issues of debate. But what my point is, as a therapist, as a person who deals, unfortunately, not once and not twice, with marital discord, there's a very simple fact. God created men and women. They don't have to be like the others. They don't have to cross. We're just fine as we are. And today there's so much attempt to reach out to all kinds of ill and wrong situations. That brings about, with the very nature that it is unnatural, it brings about all kinds of terrible issues and terrible problems and stresses. You know, it's very important that we all find ourselves, our sea legs again. I'll give you an example to what I mean. One of the songs I really like, it is in English indeed, but it's by the German group Scorpions. Klaus Mein, something is his name. Beautiful song. Talking about going down to Moscow, the river Moscow, to Gorky Park in Moscow. You know, we are all like brothers, and the idea of peace, and that we can be together. Beautiful songs, great idea, especially when it's sung by a German talking about Moscow, that the last visit of the German army to Russia is still echoing as one of the worst disasters any country has ever sustained. Not talking about the Germans, talking about the Russians. But the idea is great. But it's not backed up by the changes inside. How do we behave personally? Are we good? Are we saying, are we behaving properly? I had a discussion. I was accosted verbally by some lady saying that I live in the past and the world is processed and women feminism and all this kind of thing. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. You live in the past. You only think of yourself. I don't know. I said, I don't have any opinions of feminism, but I was a victim of it. Mommy disappeared, and heck with me and my sister. And that's what it was, and that's what it is. And we have to rewrite the paradigm, because what I mean is not necessarily feminism or whatever it is. It's no more competition. It's all artificial. We are not better than each other. You know, I'll give you an example to what I'm saying. You know, some years ago, I don't know how long, there was a world record holder in swimming from Australia. Ian Thorpe was his name. And after that he told of his tortured life. And then in his book, he sort of concludes in it. I think he was unbroken. At 4 o'clock in the morning, you can only eat this, you can only that, jacuzzi, swimming, he had no life. So he had some medals, and he was a world record holder, and then his name was erased. People faster than him, and better designs, and all kinds of things. And he disappeared from the record books, which most of the temporary winners do. And then came this guy and that guy, and some guy Drexler was held. It's all temporary and it's all wrong. It's not true. And when we do something which is contrary to the proper nature of human beings, such as extreme sports, and such as pumping iron, which is not good for our bodies, then the person becomes alienated. And this is the key point. The Hope Channel will help people reach themselves. I don't know. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. If a person feels that his life is to be a chess winner, I mean, you have to wait for a few years until Carlson retires. I love watching the guy, and I think he's a great example of how you can achieve great achievements without being vain, which is extremely important. But the point really is that we have to be rerouting ourselves back, to the square one where we are human beings. Some male, some female. I'm not getting into that debate. All I know is God says it's wrong. Otherwise, People want to choose a certain way. That's, let them do it in their way without pushing it on the public. We have to find a normal way to debate. And I watch parliaments, and I watch and I don't want to refer to the one in Israel because it's very sad to see the terrible language which is used there by now. And it's not pleasant, I'll give you another thing that I refer to the Song of the Scorpions. It's beautiful. It's a real beautiful song. And the whole idea behind it is what I want to say. But the point really is that it doesn't help. As long as the issues, the deep-rooted issues, the core issues, are not handled, and it doesn't really matter who pushed whom to the war, but the reality is that despite of the lies of the media and some people which are blunt lies, the Ukrainians are not winning the war. They're out of your mind. The truth is starting to come out. You're talking about the Red Army. The Red Army is huge. And the Russians owned Ukraine for hundreds of years. Vladimir Putin is dissecting Ukraine. Now, it's not a matter of politics and sides. Sorry to say, but as a Jew, I don't have a piece of mercy for the Ukrainians, what they've done to our people in the Second World War. That's one thing that Putin, by the way, had mentioned many times. But the point is, it's a terrible war. A lot of people have lost their homes. Many have lost their lives. Families break up. Cities are going down. And as long as the weapons and illusions are pumped into whatever his name is, the leader of Ukraine, and the more people will die. I don't know what Putin has in mind, but knowing him and knowing how things work around that area, I do believe that there's something up, something is afoot, and he's probably going to go elsewhere too. Wind of Change is the name of the song by the Scorpions, but unfortunately it hasn't changed. Anyone knows a bit of the history, knows how many wars were in the area. Europe has experienced enormous amount of wars. And there's a lot of political tensions all throughout the continent. In Ireland, Scotland want to secede from England, and the same goes for Wales, and certain areas of Spain want to secede from the Union, and whatever it is, we all have our stress, and now we're talking here about Alberta in Canada, and something talk about Texas in the United States. What I am saying is, we gotta go home. We live in this planet together. Let's find ways to bridge all the differences. I know it sounds naive, but I'm not naive. I'm over 60. I'm not naive. I've been around. You can't fool me. I know that most of the people live on personal gain and whatever. But what I'm saying is the three things have to change. The political way, the way we'll elect as a supposed leaders, they're not. They're just self-interested, weak people, or at best clerks, and they can wreak havoc and destructions on countries, as we see that Biden is an old man, and the woman behind him, she's not suitable for the job. And not that he is, but you have also issues in England. And Israel has just changed the government after 5 elections, or whatever it was, and went back to the old guy. With all respect for him, he's a brilliant man. Netanyahu is a brilliant man. Never underestimate him. Never. All of a sudden he's back. Oi! Not only he's back, but the Jews are back. Back to the sword. This is our country. You can live here, but don't be terrorists. Don't accost Jewish women. Don't steal. Don't burn. Oh, the democracy is under fire. We have to come home. We have to find a mutual positive language. The positivity does not have to find negativity. There's a story that I heard years ago that I really like. Was a king, and he was getting, older, and he wanted to choose among his three sons. He wanted to choose the heir to lead his kingdom. So he thought and he decided to put them to the test. He ordered people to construct for him 3 identical rooms, and he said to his 3 sons, you got a week to plan. I want you to fill up each the room you assigned to completely, that there will be nothing of the material used could be added to it. Okay. The older one and the middle one started pondering, thinking. The younger one continued studying and continuing his activities, whatever it was. Then the older one decided he's going to put big stones and smaller and smaller and smaller. And he figured the room is full. So he calls the father comes, looks, takes a tiny little pebble, finds a little hole, and he's not the king. The second guy went the other way, soft material, goose feathers and so on. He pushed and he pushed and he pushed and he pushed and he pushed, and figured the room is full. His father comes, takes a look, takes a step back, leans against the soft material, which gave in, and the room wasn't full. And he comes to his third son. So what are you doing? You're not preparing anything? He says, no. Would my father please come with me? Opens the door, into the room, puts a little candle in the middle of the room. He lights it up, and the light fills up the entire room. Pushed all the darkness away. He says, you're going to be my heir. Because he did something which was general, positive. You don't fight with evil, you do good. This Light and Hope channel, I hope, will bring solace and some advice to people. I hope so. I don't know. No one knows what's going to be. All I know is I'm going to try. All I know is I've been dealing with a lot of trying to be positive. Even an example, I went to buy something. My landlord was away, so I was assigned to feed the cats and the fish in the tank. And food ran out, so I went to buy, because you can't leave the animals starving. That's terrible. I went to buy it. And on the way I heard, when I parked, I walked to the mall, whatever, I heard a woman saying a profanity. I said, lady, watch your mouth. I said, we were singing a song. I said, no, you're a lady. You don't have to use those profanities just because it's in a song. No, you don't. The fact that the worst of the worst spiritually is out there doesn't mean we have to follow it. Doesn't mean we have to accept it. It doesn't mean we have to come to terms with it, make peace with it, try to push it into the mainstream. Not with it at all. Find something positive. She argued a bit, and then said, lady, why can't you just say something nice instead of that profanity? You listen to what you want. It's not. But we have to find a culture of speaking nicely to each other. I remember when I first came to Montreal, being that I love bass guitar, I went downtown to purchase an amplifier. The carrots between here and Israel are 2 different things, 220 and here's 110. And I was in the bus, and an older lady came up, and I got up and let her sit. First of all, she was very grateful. Suddenly I felt that a few young people are looking at me very intently. The next older person came up, had 3 seats offered to them. That's the idea. Not that I'm unique or whatever. A lot of people do that. It's a matter of education, a matter of preparing one life to live with the other. Let's live together. It's a good life together. Or sometimes you walk on the street. I tell you something. I had rolled around the world in travels looking for myself many years ago before I was a rabbi and all this. And I was in France, I was cold and all this kind of thing. But I always managed, thank God. I tried to speak a lot of languages. I'm very resilient to grew up in Israel. And a few days ago, I went to the IGA to buy food. And outside sat a very cold, it's cold in Montreal, Canada. I don't know if global warming has ever heard of this place. I don't care, it's okay, it's beautiful. Winter is beautiful in the summer. I'm not a guy who runs from the snow to Florida. Never been there. Anyways, what happens is, I see this guy sitting there, and I start about my own experience. I'm not a rich man. I mean, a very rich man, got a lot of good stuff, but financially I could do better. I'm doing just fine, but I want to build, so you expend a lot of money on developing those ideas. Anyways, what happened was I saw him. I reached out to my wallet and gave him $10. For him, it was like $1 million. He teared up. He got up and gave me a hug. And he hugged me. I hugged him back. He was so grateful. I let him express his gratefulness. Let him feel good. I said, go inside, buy yourself something to eat. Or go get there's a Tim Horton over there. Get yourself something to drink, something to eat, a hot coffee, whatever it is. And then he said he was cold. His hands were cold. I said, you can go to the store, the dollar store. You can get yourself some gloves. Some money will cover it because I didn't have gloves with me to give him. But the point is, somebody was good to me. I'll be good to the next guy. Not as a result of, but as a way of life. Initiate and do good. Everywhere you go, look around you, search who you can be nice to. Who can you be good to? You're going somewhere, opening the door, take a look. Doesn't matter who comes, keep the door open for them if somebody is coming. Make our culture positive and inclusive. One of the things that I do is I learn languages so I can communicate to people. The communication, which is so lacking in our style of society. People take all this twisted and warped culture image that Hollywood and its cohorts in the media try to portray. This cold, tough man now, woman. Yeah, right. This little girl kicks out a big guy. Or this little guy. Come on. Fake heroes, fake truth. It's all fake. Competitiveness, it's artificial. It's not right. People want to make business, fine. You don't have to kill the other guy for it. Ruthlessness is a killer for both sides. One thing I want to say is another thing that I see great changes. There's a lot of good changes. That's animals. I am personally love big cats, especially tigers. I can't tell you how much I love those stripers. And this is apex predator, huge, mighty, and they have issues between them, and they occasionally fight and kill each other, kill cubs or whatever. However, you used to murder these beautiful creatures ruthlessly. Today, that's one of the things that you can connect nature, wildlife loves. A lot of it are free. Today, India and Russia and China even are preserving those gorgeous creatures. And there's also people who help to do that with the lions in Africa and jaguars and leopards, of course, are awesome animals too. But the point is that today, and that's where we can find it. Another thing that can bring us all together. Today, you go in India, in the forest, and God willing, I'll do that. I'll just say I'm kosher trip to say hello to one of those tigers. You don't know, and the soul of this awesome animal. A lot of animals, elephants, they all have those souls. Tigers are vengeful. They remember everything. However, they also remember if you're good to them. An animal, any animal, can tell who you really are. Bad or good, we choose. But today, instead of killing these beautiful creatures, there are a lot of people come on safari just to watch Mr. Tiger, Mrs. Tigress crossing the road, or hunting, or playing with their cubs, or whatever. Or just lying there sleeping on their back because this is their forest and they're the lords of the forest. fearless and awesome, beautiful creatures of God. But being that has become an issue, not just an issue, but a unifying point for many people, for many countries, to save nature and to help those animals. And this an international idea. This is one of the other things, such as music, that we can connect, no matter who we are. Ruthlessness, fake. It's all fake heroes. I remember, and it doesn't matter who the character was, one of the first times I went to Canada years ago, there was a movie of someone, he's running, this huge guy, running all exposed, and 100 people shooting at him, they don't hit. Now as a soldier, you don't do that. Even if a little guy hides, he could be easily hit. It's not that. It's the idea of coldness. The idea of fake toughness. All these people are kicking and breaking heads and destroying people, numerous movies, and they are the horrible people. I don't want to name names, doesn't matter. Let's move that out of our psyche. Let's get all this stuff. You know, all these ideas of guns and all these terrible movies, police movies, war movies, whatever it is, that flood our children's mind and are ever present. And all this lack of morality between men and women and all this cheating and all this kind of thing is not good for anyone. We have to change the paradigm. We have to start putting positive content into these things. We put millions and millions of dollars of bad movies with bad ideas, bad actors, and horrible results. The good guy, of course, good guy and a girl, they cause $1 billion damages, kill 200 people, and they're the good guys. But that's not it. The it is we have to reroute, change the paradigm. Reboot the idea of how humanity is presented. I'm a representative person. Of course, I believe in God. That's not an issue. I'm not going to argue with anyone. We're not talking about taking the view that God is good, it's obvious, but not putting God as it's brought in Judaism for people, because some people don't believe in it and don't see it that way. It's not an issue. That's not the point. Of course, it is the point, but that's what my point is. Let's do good. Just do good, accepting, respecting each other's differences. Aha. I said it to an Arab in Arabic once. I will accept you. But if you come to kill me just because I'm Jewish, in my land, I'll eat you and your village up. Just dare you. We've had enough of being chased. No one is going to steal anybody's land anymore. This is the land of Israel, finished. Over here, a terrible history. And that's one of the things that I think the United States of America has to re-examine itself. Is its current treatment of the Aboriginals, of the Indians, on the various tribes. Such something that could be changed. Just give them an opportunity, not just money. Help them, coach them, take care of them. You're sitting on their land. Okay, this is an enormous country with millions and millions of people who came from all over the place. Give them some respect. Take care of them. For heaven's sake. What have they done to you? They long ago destroyed their habitats, their lives, whatever you do. Give them a chance again. Make it a national priority to make, and it goes for Canada too, Australia, New Zealand, wherever. All the people have to be treated well, starting with ourselves. And what do I mean by that? If we are trying to achieve some kind of goals, which are business goals, monetary goals, and becoming cruel, cold to ourselves and others in the process, it's not worth it. The idea of establishing this channel soon, I'm having the idea built up. The Hope and the Light channel is for all. God willing, we'll be able to reach out to each other and create a better world for all of us. Thank you.